Ryan and Ryan, welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, so let's
I'm Ryan Phillips with Associates Title.
Ryan Miracle, Ruoff Mortgage, Columbus, Ohio.
All right, so Ryan Phillips, Associates Title, Ryan Miracle, Ruoff Mortgage, Columbus, Ohio.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right, welcome to the show. And as the people learned during the intro, Ryan Miracle, right? And by the way, could you get a better last name?
I could try.
I mean, have you used that at all? Like I pull off miracles in the mortgage business?
Yeah, but being in the mortgage industry, sometimes you get phone calls that, hey, I heard you can do miracles. And that's not necessarily the type of clients I want to attract.
That's right.
You're like, let's clarify. That's awesome. All right. So do me a favor. We'll start with Ryan Phillips. Just give us a quick summary. How long have you been in the title business?
I started in 1994, so a little over 25 years. I've been doing every part of the title business. I started my own company in September of 2008, about the best time I could start a company. I think we opened on Monday and the stock market crashed on Thursday. And then it's been up, and up since.
That's awesome. You're a survivor. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Miracle, give us your quick tenure in the industry.
Yeah, sure. So I jumped right into real estate out of college in 2005, did the new build thing for just till 2009, just after the crash, and then jumped over to consumer direct with a large bank and was there during the refi boom shortly after the crash, and then got tired of being a number and then transitioned over to the broker side, which is a completely different animal. So that was about 2011, and I've been there since.
Okay, fantastic. Well, we're glad you're here. And of course, Ryan Miracle. As a matter of fact, I'll probably go like RM, RP. Maybe that's how I'll differentiate.
We can go last names too. It doesn't matter.
Thing one, thing two, what works?
That's whatever works.
So, Mr. Ryan Miracle, you are, as people learned in the intro, you are one of our pro members, as we call it, in our Mortgage Marketing Pro membership, which is the kind of done-for-you library of agent classes. And is that how you guys originally connected? Tell me how your relationship, what's the genesis of it?
Well, I mean, we started the CE thing about 2-ish years ago, and it didn't really take off. So I bowed out for about a year, but they kept working on it. And then when they asked me to come back, Phillips was part of the group, as was 2 financial planners. So at that point, they were looking for a new lender to help pull some weight. And then, so that was about this time last year, March last year. And that's when the group that we have right now is up and running.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
so that was it. The financial planners actually introduced us, and then we've been doing this since.
So about 2 years.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. And
I think we signed up for your product about a year ago.
Yeah.
And so the financial planners, though, are the ones who introduced the two of you to each other.
Yes, sir.
And did they already have the CE educational platform?
Yeah, they had already gone through compliance, but we jumped on and did the marketing stuff with you. Ryan and I tackled the marketing stuff.
Right. And so the financial planners, the platform, was it or is it theirs, what's called Next Level Continuing Education?
No, it was just, I think they just had it under their names originally.
Yeah.
And then when I jumped on board, I looked at branding and tried to make the whole image cohesive. So working with my marketing department at Ruoff, they helped us kind of craft this brand, this Next Level. And then it just kind of keeps evolving from there.
I like it. So Mr. Phillips, does that mean we have to give Mr. Miracle credit for the Next Level?
Absolutely. He's 99% of the show.
I don't know about all that.
No, that's awesome. You guys are a great team. But no, I'm looking at and we'll put links to all this in the show notes. I'm looking at your Eventbrite page right now, which is Next Level Continuing Education. So just to be clear, give us the format of kind of like the frequency of your CE platform. Just describe it, what it is.
Have you?
We try and pick the second Thursday of every month. We do a class once a month. We usually do 3 hours of electives, and we try and keep changing it up. We might do 2 or 3 months in a row with one class, but then just keep it new, and then that keeps the agents coming. And they can almost fulfill all their electives with us, and they just have to go get the boring law classes somewhere else.
Exactly. Now you have your approach is unique, which is partly why I wanted to bring you guys here. Is that you actually have, if I'm correct, at every class you have 3 different presenters?
Yes.
Yeah. So what we did is, the one thing that we're really focused on is competing with ourselves and constantly evolving, because there's other CE providers in our market, but they'll only do an hour to here. So what we did was, obviously we wanted to have as many of us in the group present as possible. So we're all pulling weight. We're all getting equal gains out of it. So we started out with 1 hour, then we went to 2, then we went to 3. I don't think we've experimented with 4 yet, but we found that 3 hours is a good sweet spot, because it allows them to cram in, realtors allows them to cram in as much CE as possible. And it allows us to have a captive audience for 3 hours.
Yeah, they've said, if I'm going to come down here, go for it. If we're going to show up, might as well just do 3 hours and get it done.
Yep.
And we've kind of ran with that since. And it kind of allows for a lunch break in there somewhere pretty easy. And it's pretty easy for us to just roll 1 hour to the next.
So each of you take an hour, roughly. Is this something that they have to pay for?
Nope. Because we do it all at libraries. And then all the presenters, Ryan, me, the financial planners, we're all using this as a platform to get business. So we're not charging any money. Right. So the only thing, what we've been doing of late is we pull in other companies, whether it be home warranty companies, home inspection companies, they buy lunch.
Right. Yeah, works out well. And so you've been doing it as Next Level for roughly 1.5 years?
About a year.
About a year.
About a year. And when you started out, how's it grown from when you began to where it is now in terms of like attendance and awareness and all that?
We're packed at every event. It's not, the only way we could grow it more, I think, is if we found a free auditorium that we could do it. The last event, 90 RSVPs in 2 days or 3 days or something like that.
Yeah. So a lot of last year we were at 50 to 75 RSVPs, depending upon our venue. And our venues are the public libraries. Now we're lucky enough that they just retooled those within the last couple of years. So they're great. The tech is great. Everything works nice. Parking is usually pretty good. And it's free if you're a member. Now, what we're kind of running into now is we're outgrowing those spaces. So we're now trying to find different alternatives. So to answer your question, I mean, we would start out at 50 to 75 RSVPs, and it would take us about 2-3 weeks to get enough RSVPs to sell out. The last 4 classes, which once again, once a month, were starting out with 75, and we're selling out within 24 to 48 hours. And then we have to usually up it and make sure that we have enough room in the room to facilitate how many people would show.
And we've been packing them in. They've been standing room or, 4 or 5 people at a table. It's and the libraries, like Ryan said, the libraries here are great facilities, super nice, but we are hitting capacity with a lot of the rooms they have to offer.
When you started out, though, what were your reservation counts looking like?
We would start out with our target being 50 to 75, depending upon the room. And we've averaged pretty much from the beginning a 55% show up rate. So depending upon what our class size or our RSVP count is, 55% is a pretty good gauge of what we're looking at.
Yeah, that's great show rate. So I'm trying to address, right, and this is some people starting out with classes, the quote success, although I don't like to judge it by the numbers, is all over the board, right? Some people start out in their first class as 5. Some people have, like you, I think you're, like 40. You came out of the gate getting 40, 50 people showing up?
20, 30 at best.
In the last 9 months, I don't think we've had less than 40 though, have we?
No.
Yeah, it's been a minimum 40 at least for the last 9 months.
Yeah, but when we started out, it was much smaller than where we are right now.
So for those listening, what do you think that you could share with them that you might do differently or that you've learned along the way to maximize attendance and show rates?
Well, one of the things that I think has really helped is we had the contact information for all the realtors in town. So that's kind of a side benefit of teaching CE. Is at least here locally, they allow you access to their name, phone number, or name and email. So we have the name and email for all the realtors in town. So we have that captive audience.
The board of realtors, if you teach CE, gives you the data.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So we would upload that to CRM.
Not to interrupt, I'm just curious. What do they give you for info? Name, phone number, email, the whole soup to nuts?
Company, broker, or salesperson, good bit of Good bit of info.
Yeah, the state gives us pretty much everything but their phone number. But through the Eventbrite, we're able to collect their phone number.
Right.
So therefore, we have that information after that. So we upload it to the CRM and then send out the invite. And then before class, so once we've gathered the invites, we download it from Eventbrite. And then I go through the list and create a drip campaign. Now, I know we're getting kind of high level, but it's basically we're creating 2 text messages that go out the day before class. Say, hey, don't forget you signed up for CE tomorrow. And then the one the day of that actually gives them the address. So all they have to do is click it on their phone, and it takes them right to the event. So we don't want to have them have an excuse of not to show up.
So is that the primary means of promoting and getting butts and seats is email and text?
Yes.
Any phone calls go out at all?
No,
None.
not yet. We haven't had to.
Very
And the
interesting.
text features, because Ryan is such a wizard with his CRM, the text feature is personalized. Hey, Bob, don't forget you signed up for for a CE class tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And, he thinks that Ryan just texted him alone.
Yeah, no, I love that. So there's a lot of good lessons in there, right? Personalization is key, but also you're leveraging automation because look, your full-time job is not event promoter.
Nope.
Very, very cool. How long, let me think about this. What about on average, I'm sure you've got it streamlined a bit more, but how much time do you put into those mechanics of promoting an event prior to your class?
Well, for the email, we use the same email every single month. We just change the back end link that goes behind a click here to sign up.
Mm-hmm.
So we already have the list primed. We already have the email written. Now, probably the biggest challenge is finding a sponsor each month. But once again, we're gaining traction with that happening on its own. Yep. And then downloading the list from Eventbrite and then plugging in the drip campaign on the back end. So right now, we're all as a group spending probably an hour prepping for one event.
Which gets 50 more or more people.
50 warm leads.
Now, in the beginning, it was much more than that because we were learning and screwing up and failing and fixing.
Yep.
But yeah, so I mean, it's getting a lot easier as we grow.
Don't allow me to finish this before we want to talk about the feedback form and like the cool thing that happened there with you. But I'm curious, like, and maybe this is just my own kind of learning curve here. So you get access to the database of realtors in your local community because you're teaching CE. Was there any warming up, or did it just go like boom, email, hey, here's a class coming up? And
we hit them with both barrels right away, and the response was okay. But the longer we had that list, the more that they warmed up, and the lower our unsubscribe rates have gotten.
Yeah, I think we had one real jerk that threatened this, threatened that. Stop emailing me, blah blah. That was it. No, I think we only had one person do that.
Yeah,
and that was it. And anyone else quietly unsubscribed, but we get way more positive feedback than we do negative.
Yeah, you don't worry about it.
No.
Are there any additional communications that go out other than your event related things?
As far as
to that database?
No. So once again, we don't want to burn out our list. So we're very careful to make sure that, like you said, we're respectful of them.
Yeah, because God forbid you start spamming them, then it gets back to the board and et cetera, and then you're done. Yeah,
yep.
Right.
Smart. Okay, cool. So that covers that. There we go. Do you need to fix anything there?
No, we're
good.
Just good. Drop your phone.
Yeah,
all right, no worries, actually. Okay, so tell me about like before and after. Give me a before and after. Like, how were you prospecting and marketing to agents before? What was the results there, and what's the difference now with these classes?
You?
Usually it was the other side of the transaction, the non-directing client that I was going after. In Central Ohio, the seller chooses, or the seller's agent chooses the title company. So I was going after the buyer's agent through the transaction. Now this is giving me another avenue to show value and show them I have something they need. And it's made quite a bit of difference of just being known in the community, if nothing else. So, I coach fourth grade basketball. And I go out to do the team introductions the other day, and the coach on the other team comes out and says, I was just in your CE class. And he was a realtor from Keller Williams. And so it starts to get around, and then it's just kind of a face they can trust or a face they'll do business with.
On my side, just like with a lot of lenders, they struggle with exposure and sameness and trying to break out and be different in their market. So before this all happened, it was cold calls every week, working the listing agent on the other side of the transaction, peer intros, those kind of things. So it was the real like boots on the ground, hand-to-hand combat kind of thing. What this has done is it's allowed all of us to break out of that sameness and go to very distinct. I wouldn't say we're to iconic yet, but that's the goal, is to have this be something that we are recognized for more than just real estate.
Yeah,
outside of our industry.
We have something different to offer.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, so first of all, congratulations to you guys for putting in the effort and having the awareness that a platform to help you rise above the noise was a smart thing to do. But also, I don't want to just brush over the importance of kind of the lessons that we're hovering around here, but we're not diving too deep on. And that is back to the branding of this thing, next level continuing education. Whereas a lot of people, quote, do classes, do lunch and learns or whatever, but they never make it a thing, right? And are yours consistently like the third or second Thursday of every month, or?
Yeah.
Right. And so that's another thing that makes it something is substantial. So the point is this, for those listening or watching, is as you get going, right, I think it's useful to consider coming up with a name, right? Whether it's the Agent Marketing Alliance, whether it's the next level, whatever. Obviously, you don't plan on expanding in all 50 states, right?
No, we haven't saturated this market yet.
Yeah,
so.
we're still, even a year in, 40, let's say average 45 realtors per, we're only staring down 600 realtors, and there's 8,000 in the Central Ohio market alone.
Yeah.
And we have had plenty of repeaters too. So, we only have a toehold even with as well as we're doing with it.
Right. So the secret is, if you're going to leverage agent classes, right, for example, whether they're CE or not, and you're going to play the long game, right, create some branding around it. Because this is now, you guys are now becoming, almost local celebs in some ways, right, in the realtor community.
Mm-hmm. That's the idea.
Yeah, getting showered with gifts and cars and all that, right?
Whoa.
Whoa. Time out. Let's delete that.
Well, they can give us stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
That works. Okay.
That's fair. How many repeat attendees do you see on average?
We'll have maybe 3 to 5 a class.
Really?
We had one guy that came to every single class we did. We had to take him off the list. I think he was just coming for lunch, but nevertheless,
exactly.
It was,
those
or he really liked us, or maybe he really liked Ryan. I don't know.
Those are the agents who have no business, right? Where they just
That's right.
Get the lunch. Tell me then about how you're converting attendees to meetings, or how you convert this to business. What's your process post-event?
Well, so to your credit, you have the feedback form, and that is paying dividends. But before that, I tried to just call everyone who was on the list. So if we had 45 people, I would spend however many hours trying to call and chase down 45 realtors, but I didn't really have anything to talk about. So once I switched over to the feedback form, that actually had me filter out the people who didn't want to talk to me. So either they weren't producing, or they didn't find value in what I had to offer, or they already had a loan officer. So I'm not going to chase someone who's not interested in talking to me. So the feedback form has really allowed me to filter out from like a class of 50, so to speak. I'll end up with like 20 feedback forms of people who actually want to talk. So it really cuts down on my back end, and I have something to talk to them about.
And for me, it's a process. It's an ongoing process for me. I have sales reps that I'll pass out the list to and let them do the follow-up. But it's an ongoing system of, one, I know how much it does for my branding, so I'm kind of satisfied with that. And then it helps me be the realtor be a lukewarm lead for either me or my sales rep. Just I've got a little bit of I've already shown them value. Just to get in front of them to show them more value is the real goal. And
sure.
And calling them after the fact is really the means of doing that.
Agreed.
Well, it's a difficult question to answer whenever I ask the question about like getting specific on referrals back to you and things like that. But can you at all speak to like what impact this has had on your business over the last year in terms of deals and things like that?
Specifically, can I say I got this deal out of that? It never seems to work that way. I think whether it be coming at them with my service or pricing, the value I add with the continuing education, it's a 3 to 5 pronged effort. that produces results. So pointing at any one particular one would be difficult, but nevertheless, it's a valuable piece of the puzzle.
Yep.
So my wife has a really high business acumen, and that's something that I didn't have coming into the business. So she taught me how to run a P&L and my lead and lag indicators. So part of that P&L is knowing how many referrals I'm getting from specific silos or verticals. So for Next Level specifically, as I grow a realtor relationship, I have them logged on a P&L, and any lead they give me, it goes onto that P&L so I can track to see how many leads I'm actually getting from the efforts. So if that realtor ends up growing into a relationship, that's kind of when I'm at the crossroads. Do I take them off that P&L? But I did find that relationship from that Next Level silo.
Mm-hmm. So that's sourcing new relationships.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of these people, I wouldn't even been able to get past the gatekeeper at their office to get in front of them.
Right.
This goes right around all of that trouble and, gets them to recognize my face or recognize at least what I'm doing without having to walk into their office and beat down the door.
Yep.
Well, we all know that part of the battle is first getting attention, right? And standing out and differentiating somehow, and then getting them to respond. And so that's why I think you've bought into, like I have, is the classes makes a lot of sense because it's a wide net strategy, right? So it's the law of large numbers. We're putting a lot of people in the top of the hopper. Secondly is, as you well know, there's a lot of things that happen simultaneously while you're teaching the class. The positioning aspect, the building of trust, so the resistance is down, the rapport, the likability, everything about a relationship is accelerated when you're in person face-to-face there. And then, of course, the value delivered, then reciprocation kicks in, and they feel like, my gosh, these guys are doing such a great thing. I want to get back.
Yep.
Yes, sir. Okay, so in terms of you guys feeling comfortable presenting, right? Were there any hurdles you had to jump through over there?
Just the speaking in front of large audiences that everybody, most people fear that more than death, I think. And,
right.
And that's really it, because the material's being laid out for us. It makes it a lot easier when I'm not coming up with the lecture or every bit of it. We've plugged in our own pieces and parts and things like that. But that makes it a lot easier when it's all laid out for you.
Okay.
The one thing that I found is, like, when you're getting up and speaking, you have to kind of perform a little bit. So normally I'm pretty low key on the disc profile. I'm a high S and a high C. So I am not a traditional salesperson, but getting up in front of people and talking, you have to almost perform. You have to almost emote 10 to 20% more than you normally would, and crack jokes and try to get people to engage. So actually, like, looking people in the eye instead of over their head. So it's a learning curve, but you learn what works and what doesn't. Yeah.
So it's good skill practicing overall, right? For being a better presenter, et cetera, building that confidence. And they say, if you can speak in front of a group, and one-on-one's a piece of cake,
Right.
So I'm on your Facebook page here for Next Level Continuing Education, and you guys do a great job with video. When did you decide to bring in, or when did you start video, like videotape? It sounds so, I was going to say videotaping. Really? Does anybody do that anymore?
I'd say
filming, recording.
Soon as he joined the group, he at first it was him. He was doing all the video, and he did a marvelous job at it. But we kind of decided, let's take that burden off of him, and then we brought in videographers. But he is a AV nerd and loves all this stuff, and so he made it pretty easy to video at first, and then it just got to be too big of a job. So then that's when we brought in the videographer.
Yeah. And you don't have to get super specific, but I'm just trying to get a sense, because people are listening, right? I'm trying to cover all context or angles people could be coming from. Videographer sounds expensive.
Okay. So I actually got a tip from one of my realtor partners so here in town, we have a art university. It's called CCAD. And they have graphic designers, potters, fashion people, but part of that is videographers as well. So they have a job board that you can place job descriptions on. And then we found Josh, our videographer, from CCAD. He was just looking for side work outside of school. So as far as cost is concerned, I think we spent was about $300
for two different.
Yeah. So this is at the same time we onboarded our first sponsor. So we offloaded the food cost to our sponsor, and then we took on the cost for the videographer. I mean, the video is really clean and we use it all the time.
Yeah.
And the nice thing is it's created an asset for us. So that way we can use it over and over again.
Well, yeah, the video is great. I'm looking at that. I mean, a little poltergeist tie in there about the iBuyers. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that was great.
And he's doing that editing for you?
No, well, so Josh did our big video that was in the main library. A lot of the other small promo videos, like the one we did with Karen Carr.
Yeah.
And the one for the poltergeist one that you saw. So I'll just find an hour in the office and then duck into a corner and then just start shooting. So that video, the poltergeist video, was for a Halloween class, and it was for your Disrupt or Die class.
Yep.
So I played heavily on like a zombie kind of theme in the video.
Yes.
So yeah, I found a dark corner in the office and then just leaned back and leaned forward a couple of times to try to figure out the lighting and the exposure. But yeah, that's probably my favorite one I've ever shot.
Yeah, that's a good one. And you have testimonial videos from people after the class. Those
Yes.
are done very professionally. And then like the more recent one I remember that I've seen, which is the promo video, which is all the nice cuts and shots of the class and people registering and the class just filling up. And I think you put that on hyperspeed as well.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really cool. So you're really, I mean, creating this kind of, like we talk about, like you've Gary Vee, right? You've got to become a media brand today. And your back end is mortgages or title.
Yep.
Oh, wow. Okay. Now I see you doing the dark shade. That's really cool, man. Great job, by the way.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Do you guys have any kind of private group for these people yet?
That's kind of our next evolution.
Yeah.
So we don't have a Facebook group yet, but we're thinking about creating like breakout mastermind classes for like a deeper dive afterwards. So you just did one the other day for Facebook.
Right. Did a kind of a workshop, hands-on rather than a lecture.
Yes.
Definitely needs some tweaking. It was I went into it telling them they were all guinea pigs, and it was kind of just we have to, when you're doing a workshop, it's your skill levels you have here and skill levels you have here. And one woman, we had to show her how to get on the Wi-Fi, and the other woman knew everything she knew. Everything we could teach her. So it's just we got to come up with a way to bridge that gap and to separate the newbies from the professionals.
Hey, man, I salute you because I've done that twice now. Try to do a, what did we call it? A hands-on lab.
Yeah.
It was more like a hands-on bloodbath. Yeah. Pretty, because to your point, people are all over the map. For instance, I'm actually leading one right now, which is 5 agents helping them set up their first Facebook ad.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. Well, for 6 weeks, by the way, once a week in person for 6 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, believe me, I'm there rethinking this whole thing right now. I'm like, step one is set up.
We've got a great idea in mind. We'll talk to you about 6 months or a year to see how it works out. But we've got to sit down and organize our thoughts to what we have to solve that problem that you're talking about. And I think we have a basic system, but once we get it down, we'll share it with you.
Yeah, for sure. I'd love it. Yeah, and that's part of why I'm doing it as well, experimenting and see, is this duplicatable, right? Because it is a certain skill set to do that lab thing. Are you guys doing any virtual meetings? I'm curious. It's relevant in the context of where we are right now today, right? Coronavirus, all that stuff. Anything virtually you're planning on doing?
Honestly, that's a heck of an idea. I mean, because that's a concern, is class is waning because of everything that's going on.
Yeah, you said your venue was canceled, right?
Like 12 hours before 90 people were set to show up.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so this just comes off fresh off of our call this morning in the membership, is that, that's was my suggestion, is to reach out to your agents. If that, and indeed it happened to you, is, try and convert that to a virtual, like a Zoom, it'll be much smaller, but at least you still get to make that,
We have to see if the state allows it. We haven't even gotten that far yet to see what the state of Ohio will allow us to do. Do they have to sign in person? Do we have, they ask who keeps the records and who, so if we're doing all virtual,
right,
that's a little bit of stuff that's up in the air that we'll probably have to clarify with the state and see what they'll accept.
I agree. For CE, you're right. It's a different conversation. I'd look at it from the standpoint of, it's an opportunity to still kind of, check in and have that FaceTime, add value, pour in, you probably get much less attendees because it's virtual and all that kind of stuff. And you got to work out the kinks. You're like learning while building the plane while flying there.
Yep.
Right.
But you get to seed it, so to speak, right? For when you can go back to that venue and just say, hey, people, we're sorry it canceled. And so we're just going to do a mini version of this today, but we'll do the full blown CE thing when we can get back in the venue.
That's a great idea. Thank you.
Yeah, give it a shot. Speaking of that, what else is on your horizon? What else are you doing that you're excited about this year for 2020? Classes related or not, or just anything?
I think just kind of diversifying our class offering.
Yeah, and moving the classes around the city. We've kind of, it seems like you get a different dynamic of a group depending on where you are, what library we choose in the city. So just bouncing around from downtown to the suburbs to wherever, it seems to bring a totally different dynamic to each group.
Interesting. Do you do any other types of events, like social events or anything for agents?
Just with groups that are already established, whether it be the local area realtor association or what it might be, because I don't know how things are in Vegas, but here the local realtor groups are very well attended and very well organized and very social. Mm-hmm. And I've been to, in the last 6 months, I don't know, probably an average of 5 or 6 social events just organized by these real estate groups. So, you can jump in and help sponsor or help organize those. But as far as doing stuff on my own, other than small group outings, nothing from me.
Mm-hmm. You don't really have a need to because your pipeline's so full from these events.
Well, yeah, I have 50 realtors a month. That's a lot to keep track of right there by itself. A lot of warm leads to get in front of.
I guess before we go, that brings up one other thing I wanted to better understand is, is the goal to, like you said, use the feedback form, Ryan, use the goal to then convert the right attendees to face-to-face meetings?
Yeah, so based upon having some stats of who's the performers and who's not, I can kind of cherry pick who I want to work with. And at this point, the volume's coming in well enough to where if someone's going to be a jerk or our personalities don't mesh, I don't have to be pigeonholed into working with them exclusively or begging them for business. I could just move on to the next person.
Right.
And our lunch guy that, we already discussed, he did 5 deals in a year. So we knew already that we really, calling on him might not be that fruitful.
Right. Exactly.
Just give him crackers next time he shows up. Right?
Something.
Well, I think at one point he wasn't on the email list and still came.
Yeah, he still showed up. He found us on Eventbrite.
He's Googling you. Yeah. And your classes, are they built out for the next several months?
We're only 30 days out at a time.
Okay.
I think that's the next evolution is we want to make this as streamlined and low maintenance for us as possible. So that's probably another step that we are thinking about taking.
Just make it like a lunch appointment almost for us. Yeah, it's something that's not too involved.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I've seen some of our members do that where they build out 6 months on their calendar for class.
Libraries only let us book 60 days out, so that's kind of if we want to keep those free venues, keep the cost on this low, it's kind of a thing there is only have 60 days out.
That makes sense. Awesome. Well, cool, guys. This has been very helpful. Great education in how you're leveraging this platform of next level continuing education classes to really maximize, optimize, right, the amount of realtors you're in front of, and probably your, speeding up what is usually a slow process is sifting and sorting realtors,
Could I add one thing?
Yeah, please.
All right. So I think we kind of glazed over the fact that it's more than just the two of us. So the good thing is, and for the people that are listening, that they want to take this step and do events, my suggestion is to find rock solid partners that you can count on to pull their weight. So there's not one of us who's pulling an uneven share of weight. So all of us have our responsibilities. And since there's 4 of us, it's not overwhelming for any of us. Like, for example, we lost our reservation 2 days ago, 12 hours before class. All of us hopped on a call and we got it figured out within an hour. So we were able to pivot locations, but that wouldn't have happened if we didn't have a team to kind of fall back on. Yeah. So for anyone who's wanting to take this step, find your partners. Don't try to do it yourself. You don't have enough time in your day, and you wouldn't be able to protect your dollar per hour if you're dumping in massive amounts of effort on your own. So find partners, and then it'll go so much better, so much faster.
And it allows for more diverse classes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That's a great point. So the diversity, we really haven't gone deep on that, but the third player who's not here in the room is your financial planner. So he's taking an hour out of each of your total 3 hours and helping them with financial planning, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Awesome. That's a great combo. Each state, of course, is different when it comes to CE requirements and things like that. What did you guys have to do to get approval?
Well, we had everything pretty well dialed in before we started approving classes. So we went to the state and found out exactly what we needed. So now a new class approval will take a week.
Yeah, that's just as long as it takes them to review it. That's it. Really, I print off your PowerPoint, tell the state how long I intend to spend on each slide, as long as it adds up to an hour and 20 minutes, and it's relevant, usually good to go. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
And make it nice with the CE approvers because they are going to take care of you.
Yeah. Was it hard to have those initial conversations with them and reach the right people?
Once again, I was coming in the back end, so they already had that relationship established. But yeah, they are really good at making friends with the people that they work with. So he was already in love with the group when I jumped in.
Nice. Great. So we just snapped on your piece and you're good to go. Very cool.
Yep.
All right, gentlemen, listen, it is Friday, so I've got to let you go. You probably have pressing engagements to get to.
Closing.
Yeah, right.
I have 2 more closings to do.
So if anybody wants to reach out to you, I'll put links in the show notes. But Mr. Ryan Phillips, where would people connect with you? Because occasionally title reps float through here and hear this. So how do you want
to? Gotcha. Ryan Phillips, Associates Title. I can be reached on my cell at 614-419-2418 or via email at ryan@associatestitleinc.com.
All business, like your typical superstar title rep. I love it. Mr. Miracle, how about you?
Yeah, probably just direct people to my email. So it's Ryan, RYAN.miracle, MIRACLE at Ruoff, RUOFF.com. So Roger, Umbrella, Oscar, Frank.
I love that. That's great. And I'll put, if you don't mind, I'll put a link in the show notes to your Eventbrite page. Is that okay?
Please.
Perfect.
Yeah. Have people check it out because your format's really nice and it looks good and all that stuff. So again, can't thank you enough for making time from your busy day to be here. Thank you both. And I appreciate y'all, being members.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you for making it easy.
Yeah, exactly.
So. My pleasure. And listeners, you know what to do as always. If you like today's episode, hey, leave us a little love wherever you're listening to this. Leave us a review. That helps us reach more people. We appreciate you, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.